Palermo, graffiti-covered, gritty, and to many tourists, a place that's synonymous with The Godfather. But hold on, we're not here to just make offers we can't refuse.
So why did we come here? Because there's so much more to Palermo than Hollywood tells. It's our last stop in Sicily, and boy, we have saved the best for the last.
In this episode, we're peeling back the urban layers to uncover the real Palermo. Sure, we'll tip our hats to the must-see spots, they're famous for a reason, but we're also veering off the beaten path to see churches that time forgot, to dine at hidden culinary gems absent from your typical guidebook, and to engage with locals who reveal the truths about the mafia that few tourists ever witness. Palermo is a city of stark contrasts, where unexpected kindness can surprise you more than any plot twist in a mafia movie. Stick around, you'll see exactly what we mean.
Benvenuti a Palermo!
We arrived to our bed and breakfast, and let me tell you, whenever we booked these, we were hungry, because the name of the place is Bed and Breakfast Cannoli. It's clean, it has Wi-Fi, it has air conditioner, and it's located in the center of everything. So that's perfect for us. We don't want anything else. We're not gonna lie to you guys, we booked this place because of the price, but it's clean, it's nice, it's in the center, and look this awesome window on the roof. You can close it, you can open. Right now we want it open because we want to see the beautiful sky.
Hey, I wonder if we could see the stars from here. Probably not, right?
We're gonna figure out that tonight.
We'll try.
And so we hit the road. Just as Palermo begins to come to life, and Juliana makes sure if these birds weren't awake before, they certainly are now. What do you say we head out to our first spot? This is a very special place. This is the Quattro Canti, and it represents different things. Represents the four seasons, represents four of the kings, Carlo V, Filippo II, Filippo III, Filippo IV. Also represents the saints of the city, that is Santa Cristina, Santa Ninfa, Santa Oliva, and Santa Agata. Each one, so there's always four things that represent this place, and it's a conjunction of streets over here. So it's beautiful to see. Also, it's the start of the neighborhood, so it's four different ones. So there's a lot going on over here, and it's the mixture of everything. If you come over here, I would recommend you to take some time to check how different one of the corners is from the other one. The adornments, they are completely different from one to each other. It's beautiful, and it's a great way to start our journey over here in Palermo.
The city is starting to come to life, and we're starting to get a little bit of an idea of what makes Palermo so special. You'll be walking around and you'll come across these fantastic, just opulent buildings that are so interesting to look at from the outside and even more interesting to look at inside. This is an example of one of them. We're here at Chiesa di Santa Caterina, and from the outside with this fountain, I mean, are you kidding me? The birds are practically paid actors here. But let's go take a look inside.
This unassuming church, often overlooked by tourists who are too busy getting lost in the nearby markets, is actually an architectural marvel. Once you step inside, it's like being teleported into a Baroque wonderland, with every inch adorned with intricate frescoes, marble inlays, and wood carvings. A real feast for the eyes. And speaking of feasts, the nuns here were famous for their heavenly pastries, a divine intervention for those of us who believed in the sacred bond between spirituality and dessert. But we didn't know this until after we had already left, and now we understand why the bakery here had a line. Anyways, we have other plans today, and that is more churches.
Now we're in La Chiesa del Gesù. That means the Church of Jesus.
Now, when Martina was planning this itinerary, I noticed there was a ton of churches we were going to show, and I was a little skeptical because I'm not a huge church visiting person. Maybe it's my post-Catholic upbringing. But this one, holy Toledo.
It's worth it. It's worth it. They have Baroque architecture, and inside it's difficult to find a single spot where there is not a marble statue or hay frescos, like paintings in the ceilings. Everything is full of different things. It's beautiful. It's
incredibly,
incredible.
yeah, it's incredibly intricate and stunning and beautiful. You could just walk around and look at everything. Right. I was amazed by the paintings on the very top.
Yes.
Holy, I'm like falling over. That's how amazed I am. It was amazing.
Also, I was telling Juliana that probably this one enters my top 3 of churches in the entire world.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's very, very, very beautiful. We recommend you to visit this place.
way to describe Palermo to you guys, and I think the best metaphor we can give is it pretty much combines every city we've been to so far in Sicily.
That is correct. And also we have to take in mind that Palermo is the biggest city in the entire island and one of the biggest city of all of the entire country.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why that we're fascinated with it right now so far.
Yeah.
It's being amazing.
Yeah, you got like the high rises, but you also have like the old architecture, you have the little alleys, the big streets, you have the beach right nearby.
That's right.
Really cool place. Should we keep exploring?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go for it.
One thing I noticed about Palermo is unfortunately it is covered in graffiti. It's kind of hard to find a place where there isn't any. It's kind of interesting taking a look closer at some of it. Like this little guy. You can find some good messages here actually, ironically.
That's like the church that I told you. It's very difficult to spot a place where there's no decoration. Also the alleys over here in Palermo, it's very difficult to see one without graffiti.
Yep.
And when you really pay attention, you realize the graffiti scream tales of rebellion and unrest. This city wears its heart on its sleeves and it struggles on its walls. And one thing we cannot help but notice is the ongoing fight against the mafia.
Our curiosity was piqued. The mafia still casts a shadow over the city, but how exactly do they operate today? What's the local sentiment? As if the city sensed our questions, our next stop, the iconic Teatro Massimo, ironically a spot made famous from the film The Godfather, served us an unexpected twist. Right there, a news crew was interviewing a local grassroots organization. This was our shot to have our questions answered.
Wow, it's pizza free. It's like against the mafia thing.
God, these videos are so funny sometimes as we're filming them because we'll get this idea of some sort of like theme we want to go down and then it starts to just create itself. I was telling Martine, like, I heard about this like anti-mafia group, like it'd be really cool if we could find some of the stickers that are in the stores about this. We came across a newscast that was actually interviewing one of the organizations here that I was hoping to talk about in this video. We kind of stood to the sidelines for a bit, waiting for the opportunity to talk to one of them. We mentioned what we're doing, and they invited us on a tour. So we get to see a whole other side of Palermo, one that's not super obvious to the native eye. So this should be interesting.
And so that's the story of how we ended up here with Davide, our tour guide with Addio Pizzo Travel, the organization's tour partner that offers walking tours of Palermo through the lens of its long-standing battle against organized crime. Davide begins to unravel the tale of the famous Teatro Massimo, one of the largest opera houses in Europe. He paints a vivid picture of its transformation from a beacon of culture and art to a symbol of the mafia's power. David explains that the Teatro Massimo closed in 1974 for what it's supposed to be a few months of repairs. It was until 1997 that it reopened due to the mafia's chokehold on public contracts and the construction industry.
The paradox of the arts and the mafia being so intertwined here was not lost on our guide, and he said this only became further cemented.
Questa cosa è andata sempre più anche aumentando anche a causa della filmografia internazionale. Tutti voi ricordate i film del Padrino. Il Padrino, splendidi film, trilogia, però il Padrino ha ancora di più un danno dovuto al fatto che ha alimentato quello stereotipo, no? Del mafioso romantico, del mafioso per bene che si sostituisce allo Stato. Ed è iconico il fatto che in uno di questi tre film, in particolare l'ultimo, c'è una scena dove uccidono la figlia del boss proprio qui sulla scalinata del Teatro Massimo. Chi non l'ha visto chiedo scusa per lo spoiler, ma e questo, credetemi, ancora di più alimentato soprattutto nei visitatori stranieri, in particolare gli americani, i cinesi, che io faccio la guida, quindi mi capita molto spesso di avere a che fare con comitive straniere. E la prima cosa che mi chiedono, sapete qual è? Dice, ma qui si può parlare di mafia? Come se fosse un tabù, come se fosse un qualcosa che non bisogna mai parlare. Invece no, noi siamo qui attivi proprio per dire l'opposto. Ci siamo fin qui?
As we walked around Palermo, we learned about the significance of murals, visited sites pivotal in the fight against the mafia, and even explored the cathedral. But instead of focusing on its Norman architecture or its history as a Muslim mosque, we delved into the story of a priest who fought against the mafia and was buried here. The most interesting part was learning how the mafia operates. Davide reminds us that Sicilians love to speak with gestures, and that doesn't just stop with talking with your hands. Imagine opening your shop to find the lock has been superglued, then a few days later, head of a dead animal at your doorstep. This isn't just a prank gone wrong, it's a calculated message, a reminder that the mafia's eyes and reach extend everywhere. These signs create a climate of fear, a daily reminder of the control the mafia seeks to exert. This fear drives many into the suffocating embrace of pizzo, a monthly extortion cycle that's as regular as your Netflix subscription, but far less enjoyable. For a long time, pizzo was the cost of doing business here, but in 2004, a group of friends got together over a couple drinks and started a revolution. Addio Pizzo is an organization that's standing up, and their approach is multifaceted. Encourage citizens to consciously support businesses that refuse to pay the pizzo by looking for this sticker in the shop windows. They also offer assistance to victims of extortion, providing legal, psychological, and corporate support. And it turns out it's actually working.
As visitors, we can play a part. Supporting businesses with the Addio Pizzo sticker is a small but significant gesture of solidarity. If you're intrigued by this tour and want to experience this unique perspective of Palermo, check out the link in the description of this video. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Of course, it's a problem in Mexico as well, but it's important to see, and it's inspiring to see how the people from Palermo stand up and is fighting against it.
Now I'm keeping an eye out for it. At every single business we're passing by, like, do they have the symbol? And it's impressive to me when I see it, but it's more impressive when I don't. Like, it's pretty astonishing. It makes me wonder, like, how many of these businesses are experiencing this type of extortion that are afraid to speak up. It's very interesting. Jesus, Martine, the luck that we have had.
That's right, that's right.
What a tour.
It was amazing. It has a lot of history, a lot of things that you have to know, and it was impressive, like the passion that our guide has. Davide, he was the greatest, and also the people that we were next to.
It's just been such a magical trip throughout this series in Sicily because we've met so many kind people. And everybody feels like family, and this guy, what a great guide he was.
One of the most beautiful things about Sicily is their people.
But, Martine, we were not planning to do this tour, and
nope.
we've been walking around for 3 hours, and we're starving.
We are. I'm shaking. So let's get something to eat.
Let's go.
You have to take in mind that the Arabs at some point conquered Sicily, so they have influence for more than 200 years over here. This, that is the market, el Mercato del Capo, it show us that influence because the markets, they look like they have over there. So let's get inside over there and, I don't know, let's get lost.
Now this is where you come for the good souvenirs. Not like the ones you find in the regular souvenir shop. I'm talking fresh pasta, jars of pesto. You also get to take a look at what actual local ingredients look like. And in our case, we're also getting to try some of the local food because we're working on a video right now that's already up for you guys at this point of all the food you need to try in Sicily. So here we're going to be trying a couple of street food things that we've been on the hunt for weeks. Check out that video after this one because we give a really detailed summary of all the food you need to try in Sicily because eating here is like half of the cultural experience that you have to understand the island.
The spot we headed to in this market is Stanlio e Olio, and we tried panelle, which is a chickpea fritter, and sfinzione, aka Sicilian style pizza. Both incredible dishes and affordable too. The rest of the afternoon was spent just walking around, taking it easy, and getting ready for game time.
If you're used to the channel, you know that we try to integrate, or I try to integrate a little bit of sports whenever we're visiting a new destination. So in this case, we have the great opportunity to go to a football game or a soccer game.
Yep, exactly. Now this guy is a sports fanatic. I am not, but yet I have found myself at World Cup and countless stadiums around the world with you. And there's one thing I've learned, and it's that you may not be able to know the language, but soccer or football
is a universal language.
That's right.
One of the best ways to be able to experience local culture is by attending a game of any kind.
At some point over here in the first division of Italy in Serie A, there were 3 Sicilian clubs. Right now there's none. But the one that is the closest to arrive to first division is Palermo, that is in the second division in Serie B. So I think this year we have a very good team and I think they can reach Serie A.
And Martine grabbed a jersey today when we were out. I'm using just Italy. Let's see how it is to attend a Sicilian football match.
Let's go to the Renzo Barbera. When we arrived to the stadium, we were lost, walking in circles trying to find a ticket booth. Finally, we asked some locals where we can buy tickets and they told us we can't. It's only online these days. With no international phone plan, we were totally stuck. That was until another local overheard our issue and offered to help us to buy tickets. Meet Giorgio and his friends, some of the good guys in this planet.
We met some friendly locals who not only helped us to buy our tickets online, but they offered to pay for them. Palermo is treating us so well.
Sicilians, they're truly they're the best people in the world. I love them.
So the game began. Tonight they're playing Pisalo. And while the game is certainly entertaining, it's what's going on around us that's the real spectacle. Even at second division games, you can make some interesting observations.
Sure, the chants might have different melody, and instead of the classic hot dogs, you might find yourself holding a popsicle. But peel away those small differences, and you'll find the heartbeat of football remains the same. We're all here for the heights, the lows, and the outright absurdities of the game. We'll celebrate our team's triumphs, and yes, we'll curse the referee with the same fiery anger, united in our selective blindness to our team's faults. In the end, it's that raw, unfiltered passion that binds us together, proving once again that football is indeed the world's universal language, even here in Sicily.
The home team won, and it's time to celebrate. Not far away, in the heartbeat of this ancient city, lies a former blacksmith's forge. Today, it's known as Trattoria al Ferro di Cavallo, which translates to the horseshoe, to pay homage to its past. Now, normally, if we'd seen a line this long to get into a restaurant, we'd give up. But this may just be one of the most enjoyable waiting experiences we've had.
You want? Grazie.
Grazie.
While we're waiting, they give us some shrimp. Probably they're gonna give us something to drink. Good.
Grazie.
Your eyes didn't deceive you. Believe it or not, this joint flings out free appetizers and champagne to the poor souls waiting in line. Suddenly, being stuck in line doesn't seem too bad. It's possibly the only line on the planet you'd happily join the back of. Twice. And don't let the exterior fool you. Sure, it's decked out with plastic tables and chairs that scream budget wedding, but the food is something else. It's the kind of fare that draws in both wide-eyed tourists and discerning locals alike.
When I saw that this pasta is shaped like SpaghettiOs, I felt nostalgic. I felt like I had to order it. It is called Analiti Siciliani. And of course, Martine, he went exactly down the avenue. I knew he would the minute we showed up to this restaurant. He ordered the Nero di Seppia. Looks delicious. I'm about to stuff my face and pass out. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Martine and I have a lot more exploring to do.
Buongiorno, it's a new day over here in Palermo and it's a Sunday.
Yes, and Sundays for us back home are for thrift shopping, but here in Palermo we decided to visit a local flea market that's only open on Sundays.
This one is called El Mercato Antico. That means the ancient market.
Yeah, and from walking around here, it's one of the best flea markets we've been to so far. The amount of vases and cool vintage signs and clothes, it's pretty incredible, and I wish we didn't travel just to carry on because I'd bring some things to go decorate our house back home.
I know. If you already saw our Catania video, you know what we like to collect. If If you haven't, you have to, because it's a very, very good video.
Yeah, so today's finds. Martine, show them what you got.
I got a coin from the World Cup of Italy 1990.
Hey, very, very fitting. And I started a old photograph collection. I got a bunch of different photos. I'll show you guys my two favorites. I like to imagine that it's the same person. What do you guys think?
This was a good morning walk, but we have to discover Palermo still.
Last day in Palermo, last day in Sicily, so let's go with the bang.
Let's go.
Now sometimes it pays to eavesdrop on people's conversations because then you end up finding cool places like this one. Our next stop is Spinato, an institution here in Palermo. It's been around since 1860. I heard someone talking about it in Agrigento and immediately pulled out my phone, wrote it down and said, Martine, we have to come here. Because according to the guy, he said they do amazing granita, gelato, they have tons of different pastries. Their arancini is also very, very good here. So we figured we'd make a little mid-morning snack stop here. It's never too early for a frozen treat in Sicily. So we're gonna dig in and head to our next spot.
Yours is better.
Really? See, everybody goes for the lemon, but I think the real hidden gem in Italy is their oranges.
Or Mandarin.
Or mandarin, that's also been pretty good.
Yesterday we kind of brushed past Teatro Massimo. So today we decided to take a trip back to finally see it from inside. The only way to access inside is by doing a tour, which goes for 12 euros per person, which is worth it to witness the incredible interior. As Italy's largest opera house, they still put on performances today. But if you're not able to attend a performance inside, the street performances outside also set the mood.
I feel like Martina and I are on a race against the clock because it's our last day here in Palermo and we're trying to not last day in Sicily as a whole, and we're not going to waste a single meal on something bad. We're trying to get as many Sicilian dishes in as possible. And we were supposed to show a different restaurant. It ended up being closed. Turns out Universe wants us to eat here because we walked past and I was drawn by their arancina laboratory. We saw some arancinas that are completely different flavors than we've seen anywhere else. This one, alla norma, combines two of my favorite Sicilian dishes, pasta alla norma with arancina. And Martin got a couple other ones too. He got regular carne, because it's his favorite, and then cacio e pepe, which is a fun flavor we've never seen anywhere else.
Okay, this is my advice. I've been here a lot of times, so this is my advice. You want to have a light color arancina. Why? Because that means they change the oil very frequently, so that gives you a fresh one. As you can tell by my face, these arancina were amazing, and I was a big fan of the cacio e pepe flavor. A few blocks away, we find our next spot. We arrived, this is El Palazzo dei Normanni. As the name says, a Norman castle from the 9th century. So it's important to know that in Sicily, a lot of cultures that were mixed together. They wanted this island, they wanted to protect. That's why they construct this castle. Right now it has a chapel inside and also some apartments that people live inside. Normally you can go inside from 8 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon, except Sundays. I don't know what happened with the Sundays. Italians, they want to rest. And unfortunately for us, you guys already know it's Sunday. So we can only appreciate it from the outside, but it's alright because we have to go to another place.
Looking at us right now, but we have walked across Palermo several times in search of puppet shows this past 2 hours.
It's something that it's very representative from Palermo. It's something that is very nice and it's something very unique that we wanted to show in this video.
And it just so happens to be that the premier puppet show operators are on tour right now for several weeks. And so we've actually checked several puppeteering theaters at this point. I don't know how many steps we've walked, so we won't be able to show you guys the puppet show. But if you are in Palermo, I would highly recommend coming to check it out because it is an ancient art form that you don't see everywhere. It's supposed to be some pretty cool shows. But you know what? Today is turning way more into a food day than I expected. And Martine, do you have room in your stomach for more?
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because we walk a lot for the 3 different operas of puppets.
Yep.
So yeah, more than 15,000 steps. Yes, I have some room for it.
And I have good news. Food doesn't go on tour, so I think our next spot should be open.
Let's go.
Just when we thought we hit the end of our video, we heard the sound of a marching band in the distance. Our curiosity got the better of us, so we followed the beat all the way to, of all places, a fire station. There we were, standing around, scratching our heads, trying to piece together the scene. After a bit of back and forth, we figured we'd do what seems to work best for us on this trip. March right up and join the action.
Per rispondere lavoro, lascia la loro famiglia.
So we came across Festa Patronale, that is like a church thing. For what I can see, it's Saint Rita, and it's inside of the fire. How do you say?
Fire department.
Fire department. So it's quite unique experience. So it turns out this fire station was the kickoff spot for a parade. These men, they were carrying this massive statue, heading out the exit, and the next thing we know, we're back on the street.
So we kicked off this video chatting about the saints that keep an eye on Palermo's 4 corners, and here we are, wrapping it up smack in the middle of what seems to be a saint celebration day. Talk about a full circle, huh? That's Sicily for you.
We're ready to finish this day with pizza. Sometimes I try to criticize Juliana because she's ordering margarita pizza every single time. But over here, there was something prepared for her because there's 6 different types of margarita pizza. You can choose the mozzarella, you can choose the tomatoes, you can choose everything. So over here we divided one because you guys know we have been eating a lot, and this place, it's amazing. This one we ordered with mozzarella di bufala and also with yellow tomatoes. So that's why it looks like this. It's called Caponata, and it's one of the best places to have dinner. So we're gonna enjoy.
Now this place didn't have a ton of reviews online, but the ones I read were good. And it was people swearing it's the best pizza they've had in all their trips through Italy, so let's see if it lives up to hype. You could close your eyes and imagine that it's just a regular tomato sauce. You almost forget it's just the yellow ones. And this cheese, it just melts in your mouth. But what makes this pizza is the crust, so pillowy, soft. You just want to tear into it, tear it apart. They weren't kidding.
Nothing else to say. Palermo, we fell in love with you.
Next week we're going to be checking out Rome on our way back to the US. I can't believe we're already leaving Europe.
I know.
So we'll leave a video over here for you guys to watch next. So long.
Travel well.
And make the world your neighborhood. See you guys next time.
Bye.